And we're back for the final hour of the Long Voyage for this week, and we are still we are still short what one person has been doing. He's been waiting extremely patiently. So, Gylfi, what has your character been up to, quite apart from being the object of adoration of so many young women?
Yeah, guilty as everybody would get this get set of clothing made for himself. But I'm not sure I'm not sure he would go for like the most expensive thing. He would be genuinely ask Galen if, because not every material fits every person.
Nope.
So he would ask genuinely if like which material would be the best for like set of clothing for him, and obviously like which colors
Yes.
and
Well,
which part.
she would ask if he wants clothing for, everyday use or for formal events or that sort of thing. She would want to know that before she gives you an answer, because
Mm. I would imagine he wants. In this case, he would like set of clothing for
Yes.
every day that he can more blend into the
Yes.
into the crowd, and maybe one set of for like formal event.
Oh yes. So two sets
Needed.
basically. And she would say that for everyday wear, she combines some cotton and some wool material, because that way you get something which is sturdy but also comfortable. And for the formal wear, she does say, well, it can be made out of anything, but the finest that she's got is definitely the silk. It's also, she admits openly, it's also obviously the most costly, but it is the finest she's got.
Yeah, Gilfie will be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And then she starts looking, because with his general colorations and so on, and she comes up with light blue would be good for him. She thinks, and she finds some nice something which is almost sapphire blue. And she tries holding up the cloth, next to him, so just for herself to see if that would be a good fit, and she's like, it's definitely, yes, this would look very good on you. And then she she turns you to face. They have she's got a polished silver mirror, so you can see.
Yeah, Gilfie would just would probably agree, because he recognizes being like just barely like able to do like some sewing himself. He recognizes that she probably has much better eye for color than him.
Well, she begins working on that as well. Again, you've had many days in the village, and she is a fast worker, so within a couple of days after you've ordered it, basically maybe 3 days after, you can pick up your clothes. And it does look amazing on him, and the for the everyday clothes are extremely comfy, probably the most comfy you've ever owned.
Because I know it's 200 for the regal ones, and for the casual ones.
Casual ones is 2. No, not even. It's 1.5. It's 15 silver. It's material which is readily available, so
I'm just yeah. So other than that, he would. Yeah, as I said before, he would drink. He would, visit town, and he would actually find he would frequent a bathhouse if there is one.
There is. There absolutely is.
And he would actually have his. Yeah, he would actually shave often.
Yes.
And he would probably maybe like do something with his hair.
Oh, you can get you know, the some of the locals to help you do something with his hair. Definitely,
Yeah.
get it set up in a more local style, for example.
Yeah, because since he's curious about everything and everyone,
of course.
he would probably try.
Yes. So all of you suddenly see one day Gylfi coming back from town with his hair set up in a very tight bun. He's got a man bun.
Well, that's
Now
certainly
he-
interesting.
Now he just needs his full beard and a book and very baggy clothing. Then he can be a hipster.
Where are my hipster glasses?
Yes.
Where are my Ray-Bans?
Well, Thrody insists that you show him where you got that done because that looks fun. Also insists on
A
not
fun bun.
shaven.
Yes.
It's a man bun, not a fun bun.
Yes, it is. It is definitely. It's not a fun bun, no. But
Yeah,
yes.
Oh my god.
Gylfi would be like, yeah, there is, there is a place I learned about it from, and he says a name of a girl that told him about it,
Yeah. Indeed.
the lady. Yeah, there's this place in X and Y. If you want to, we can go like tomorrow in a week or whatever.
Ah, that would be grand.
Yes. So you get the whole treatment at the bathhouse as well. Good God, you guys are going native.
Well, as I said, Thrody will insist on not being shaven.
Yes.
He doesn't mind getting his beard groomed.
Oh my god,
Shaven,
like just
no.
have
Well-
this beard braided.
there are several men in town who have beards as well. So it's
I-
not unseen.
I imagine Ilva going, ooh, they have a thing like that here? Where?
The
And then Drax, Spana, and go with her.
yeah.
Like, come!
They're both like no, no.
Yes.
Yes,
No.
come.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, come.
No. Spana gives you this look of no, really no. And
They
Young
may-
Gather is
they-
points to the scar on her face and says, "I gave up looking good a long time ago."
It's not about looking good, it's about feeling good. Come on! And then she just drags her along. Come on!
Spana stands, remains behind with this look of, she looks towards Yarn Gather when she's led away with this sort of, I feel you, sister. But yep,
Ilva
you-
has the biggest grin on her face. It looks like kind of a she-wolf, but that's why she's called Ilva.
Yeah, Gylfi would
Like,
probably if somebody asked him to to show where the place is.
yes.
Show where the
Oh,
place
Ilva will, with Yangara in her arm, refusing to let go.
is. After probably after like when he shows up, he's no, he's not a regular, but he's recognized.
Yes.
already, when he shows up.
Yes, I don't think there's any doubt that they, he comes back and they all smile because yes, again he's been there a few times now.
And he brings more customers.
Yes,
Not
he does.
bad.
That's always a good thing.
I kind of like the waves we do as Southlanders. First, someone discovers one thing, and then everyone goes there. And then someone discovers another thing, and then everyone goes there.
It's because we're very curious people.
Mm-hmm.
We're very
This is it.
adventurous.
You are definitely going native here. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
It's just fun.
Other than frequenting the bathhouse, you'll feel probably, as I said, slip away very, very early from ship and come back very late.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's not
Oh.
shirking any of his duties.
I can't imagine that he would do that.
Shirk his duties at the ship?
He's
Yeah.
busy fulfilling his duties of fulfilling the villages.
Well, I kinda have to know if he's shirking the duties at the ship constantly, because then Ilva will be on his case and she will be angry.
I wouldn't say he's doing it constantly, but I imagine it happens like happened like around 3 times, let's say, in those 2 months.
Yeah, Elva will be standing there with her arms crossed, tapping the floor like a very, very disappointed big sister every time he does it.
Ooh.
And he's like, "Oh well, I'm just making a good impression."
So are we, but we are not shirking the duties at the ship.
I don't know. Everybody seems healthy.
Yeah, but there are other things than just health here. There's the health of your ship.
You put people in town. The sail
Can I
does
get that
not-
again?
The sail does not need fixing.
No, but you're still someone who can help with the other things, like pulling things away and carrying it around and holding a port there and stuff. You're good at telling when it has been matured enough and all that.
You just roll.
I really like that you're curious about this place, but you still have a family. It's the ship and all the crew. Don't forget it, please.
Yeah, and I'm keeping it nice and healthy. And he just kind of rolls his eyes and just moves past her, just like.
Oh god, he just entered the rebellious teenager stage!
Oh no!
And he gets such a smack for it.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
And he's like, "Hey, watch the hair, watch the hair."
Oh no! No!
Someone give him a noogie right now.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
Oh god.
At first, she just, slaps him, and then not the hair, and then she noogies him until the hair is completely unrecognizable.
No.
That's a
He then tries to run.
yes. How much money was that wasted then?
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to go back and get it done the next day.
I'm sure that she'll be very keen to.
Oh yes.
Did you just call her a she? Him a she?
The
She'll
woman
be
who has
very-
to do him.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, have to do him. Yeah, sure. She'll be very keen to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
he
guys.
won't be there tomorrow because we'll be gone. But anyway,
Yes. So, the following day.
And we have stuff to do.
Yes, you do.
And Gilfy is coming even if he doesn't want to.
good. So yes, we did go to see. What names? Chris?
Lord Bao?
No.
Armor?
Li Tang. We saw him about
Yes.
Ah,
requisitioning some of his fine soldiers to aid us in our.
And he is relieved that you asked him to come along. He would have clearly felt it as a slight if he'd been left behind in something this important. But he has told you that he's going to be there the next day, and he will bring his 4 best men.
Well, but yeah, speaks to some degree of.
Maybe
Quality, we
just
should-
3 of his best men in case the city gets attacked.
I think the general quality of his men is good enough that they will survive even without having 4 best men. I mean, let's face it, they fight in a way that we simply can't compete with in terms of formation fighting and discipline.
I'm sure he'll be able to make that call. He is the man. So yeah, probably.
He brings 4 men, and they are you've trained in town and you've trained against these men, so you can certainly attest to the fact that these are in fact 4 very skilled soldiers. And in particular, these men are. I mean, they're good at all the weapons, but they're particularly good in close combat, more so than actually at archery. Because if this is to be an ambush, then it will come down to melee.
Yes.
So yeah, they. Sorry, please.
Well, as you said, we have a few tricks possibly that might work against these bandits as well, in terms of using basically shield punching and things like that.
For example, I hope that you have. They have their own foul practices, I'm sure, and they fight without honor, and again ambushes and so on. So the fact that you have good strong shields is a good idea, he says, and when they attack, and they will, I'm certain of it, make certain that about half of us go to the other side of the cart. Because they will be coming from that side once we are engaged with the first wave of attackers. Then they will try to take us in a rear assault.
So they'll try to flank.
Yes, they will.
Yes. I mean, when he says about, these people ambush and they fight without honor, Sindri has some flashbacks to a certain settlement on the hill. Dishonorable tactics and all that kind of thing. He doesn't say anything, obviously, because that would be stupid, but yeah, he just sort of nods with a kind of pensive grimace.
Yeah, look of, let's talk about something else right now.
But yes, so his advice as well is well taken in regards to, watch out for flanking manoeuvres.
Yes.
I can always imagine Sindri will probably stay in the cart and use his bow to start with, so he can cover both sides fairly easily.
Yes, that sounds about right. And there's obviously there's a brief period of getting everyone and everything on board ship. But the point being that as you are basically, as Li Tang tells you, while you're casting off and getting ready to sail further up, along the coast, is that seeing as you are all physically impressively large specimens, he says, what will happen is the carts will look like they're weighted down with a heavy load. So we're going to look like we are a small, very lightly armed, I wouldn't even call us a caravan, but a couple of merchants, he says, and pats a bag full of clothes that he's brought. A couple of merchants with maybe just a couple of more or less inept and unprepared guards. It's going to look like it's going to look almost too easy. And then when they attack, as I said, you will hear it, obviously, but instead of all jumping out and attacking the people who just arrived, we need some of you, and you are better able to determine who will be good at this, but we need some of you to jump out on the other side of the carts and be prepared for the attack that I'm certain will come from behind.
Agreed. I think I would be quite useful for that personally.
Good.
But we shall see. So, yes. There's at least, we have among our arsenal, there is one weapon we have that I don't think we've shown to you in our training, at least, that we might be able to make good use of.
Alright. Do so.
Fear, quite simply. Actually, the point we're talking to him, we can barely communicate, but yes, he just says, fear. Southlander, whatever, us, big,
True.
loud.
They won't expect you, and when they see you, yes, they will likely become very afraid, because you will look like giants to them. You might even look like Oni.
Sindri demonstrates, his face goes wild. I think he even has his shield. He might bite the edge of his shield in a kind of almost berserker gang way.
Yes. Yeah, he takes one look at that and says, yes, definitely, they will be afraid. He was like, that is disturbing, my friend. But I think, he says, we are as well prepared as we can be for something like this. And a lot depends on us. So, yes. And he pushes the bag of clothing over to one of his men and barks a few commands at him, basically, you know, and the soldier just nods and starts to change, basically. He needs to, you know, put on some civilian clothing. And the same goes for... Yeah. So, you know, everybody gets ready. And
Yes.
same thing goes for, you know, Ormer and the others are basically saying, okay, what we are going to do is obviously we're going to put you guys ashore. And, you know, there are a few people who are basically by now saying, why do they get all the fun all the time? And then, you know, they get a look basically saying, yeah, you want to go in there and possibly be outnumbered because you don't know what's going to attack you. And you want to do that instead of going back to Lanwan and, you know, relaxing. Right. Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
Do the other battle maidens join us?
Yes, they do.
that was I love the fact that I mean, yes, if we were with battle maidens, it could be just we could have just looked at them and said, because we're player characters, or you know, or maybe just sit there or you know, make a joke about, you know, how Ormer must clearly trust us more than anyone else. We're just that we just
Well,
have those kind of faces.
If Ilva weren't having a huge ass grudge against Gylfi right now, she would have said, because obviously we are the best.
Yeah.
But she doesn't!
Well,
Because she's pretty pissed at Gylfi right now.
I mean, you could have.
That's fine.
You could still say, because we're the best. Gylfi accepted, you know, or sort of thing.
That would
Anyway.
be nice.
Yes, so this will be the first time that I suppose since we're taking the boats, this will be the first time that these people, these Imperials, will actually, you know, experience what it's like to be on a glorified rowboat going inland.
Yes, and they are, you know, you can see the look on the, at least on the you know, the ordinary soldiers' faces, is one of, is this thing going to sink under our feet? How do they sail this thing without it sinking? But, you know, Litang kind of, you know, he's stoic enough. He just keeps a straight face about it, and you guys do sail for about a day. And you also sail slightly into the night. There's enough moonlight to sail by if you are careful. And finally, Ormer puts up a hand, and the rest of you are probably like, what? And then he points towards shore, and he says, there, that's where we went ashore the first time. And since you guys are coming from the other direction, you know, it's difficult for any of you to see, but he does have a very, he's got you've sailed with him now for long enough to know that Ormer has a very, very good directional sense. And of course the ship turns towards shore, and you go ashore exactly where you landed the first time, that little beach, where you also had your encounter with Hollowwood and the funky shrooms.
Don't need more of those.
Yes, we need to give some more to Gylfi so he can, so that
No, don't give more to Gylfi.
well, I could give one to Ilva as well, so you two can finish your little grudge match and just get, you know, just
No, Sindri. Just keep out of it. Ilva's in a foul mood.
I mean, that's not in character. I'm saying it out of character, but
Oh, I thought you were.
no, I try to drop my voice down a bit when I speak as Sindri, because, you know, he's meant to sound like this, all gruff and sort of thing.
Gruff and grr. Okay.
Gruff and go. That's
Girl.
dear God. Okay. But yeah. Okay. Imagine Sindri will probably pick it up just after Ormond does. His eyesight's pretty good. And,
Yeah.
But either way, it's not important. It's just the beach. We know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Is anything odd about it? Any people there? Has anything changed about it?
Nothing
Good.
whatsoever. It's exactly like you left it. You go ashore, and Litang immediately says, yes, this is actually a good place. People won't have been able to see us land here, even if they, for some reason, would have scouts. Unless they had someone standing right here, they wouldn't have seen us. And no, they did not in fact have anyone standing right here, or we would by now have been full of arrows. So I say we get the carts ashore, and we clear a path from here up to the road. And he takes out his sword and begins to hack hollow wood down so that you guys can actually get the carts past.
Yep.
Does he want assistance?
Yes, definitely. He would kind of
Absolutely.
like that. So yes.
He gets it.
Yep.
Yes, and between you manage to batter down enough bamboo that you can bring the carts up to the road, and obviously, quite importantly, you have had 2 small horses with you on the ship to pull them as well. That is entirely possible. Incidentally, it is Viking ships could actually bring horses with them, though normally for long voyages it wouldn't be on a warship, it would be on a transport ship, but still it's possible. So they are tied in front of the carts, and then lo and behold, you are able to get going, and you guys are basically you are all put up into the carts,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's kind of a tight squeeze, but with the 2 battle maidens and all your your weapons and stuff, you really are very social right now in the back of these carts.
I mean, say,
Oh, that's so beautiful when Ilva is a thundercloud.
Yeah.
Yay.
I mean, if the battle maidens all stuck together in the same cart, so they didn't have to deal with. I mean,
That's doable if that's how you. I mean, there are 6 of you who are along.
no.
So
It depends on what they want. I mean, would they prefer? Are they?
Well,
again, we all
if
try-
the
we try
battle
to-
maidens are in their own cart, then Ilva won't be such of a thundercloud.
no. I think that's what they're going to do. Basically, is.
I mean, I
I think
trust
I
everyone.
think actually Spano will suggest that the 3 of us will stay here in this cart. We will attack when we get attacked. We will go for the attackers. The 3 of you in the other cart will jump out on the other side and guard our flank. Sorry, so that we do not, in fact, get attacked from behind by more bandits.
Yes, that seems a good idea.
All right, then that's what we're going to do. And you guys begin driving along. And here's the thing. Driving in a cart like this, even on a good road like what you are driving on here, and it is a good road. It's not paved or anything of the sort. That would be absolutely absurd on a country road. But it is very hard stamped dirt. It's not just a couple of tracks in the road. This is a proper dirt road, at least. And you are bumbling along on the back of the carts, and suspension being what it is in these things, you guys are slightly sore within the first 5 minutes, and probably feel like every bone in your body is broken within the first half hour. But
Ow, 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 ow.
yeah, pretty much. And and while you sailed this distance in a day, it will take longer to drive back, because sailing is relatively swift. But driving a cart at walking speed is not. Because the soldiers who are outside need to be able to keep up, obviously. And also, you can't move too fast, because you need whatever bandits are out there to pick up on the fact that you're there, report back, get their friends, and come back and attack you. So it's slow going. And you make it... you make it to... basically almost to nightfall on the first day. Nothing has happened. You are sore and probably cranky and
Oh yeah.
warm, and every last one of you needs to take a dump. You know that it's just today has been not good, and at this point, at least, Jan Gather looks at her two friends, the other battle maidens, and just dryly comments, "Yeah, we sure get all the fun." You know.
Silva doesn't even seem to notice. She's just staring into whatever covers the cart.
Yeah.
With a grim look that matches that of Sindri.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you know the world is coming to an end.
Yeah. But then, as I said, it's almost to nightfall. And then at a bend in the road, there is a bend in the road where you can't actually see because of some rocks and quite large trees. You know from having traveled that you are about to turn and start heading down a smaller bay, not far from where not far from Lanwan, but still it's still a while off, obviously. But because again, you have Sindri there, and he's got navigation, and I think some of the rest of you might as well. But at least he can tell that that's where you are. And just as you turn around this, corner, or this bend in the road, the front cart. Those of you who are in there, and that is the cart full of battle maidens. You get jostled around very, very powerfully as the front right wheel gets drops into a pit trap. I mean, the whole cart doesn't topple over, but the cart is stuck. It's not moving anywhere.
I do hope that none of the people on the outside got too badly hurt. We shall see.
Well,
okay,
at this point, the soldiers who are outside are playing their part. They're basically like, "What happened?" and "Oh," and "No," and "Can we pull it out?" and "Get the other horse." And they come over to the other cart, and as they untie the horse, they basically, the man who's doing that whispers loud enough that you guys can hear it, but not loud enough that anyone off the road would. He says, "You might want to get ready." And
what?
He whispers to the people in the cart. To
We
get
might
ready.
want to.
What did you mean?
I just don't think she heard what you whispered.
Oh, right.
No, it keeps cutting out whenever your voice gets too low.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, he just says you might want to get ready.
Is it the boys?
Yes, the boys.
Cart. So ours just stops. So
yes,
what?
yours gets stuck in a hole.
What?
The battle maidens are in
Both
the
carts.
No, the front cart is the one with the battle maidens in it. Just as it turns around the bend in the road, the front right wheel gets stuck in a pit trap.
Okay. Well, Ilva takes her hammer down and gets ready to jump out when there is sign of trouble.
Yes. And yes, that is the yeah. And sorry, I zoned out there for a moment.
Yes.
You
Get ready.
oh, so, yeah, you get ready. All of you get ready, and just as you do so, you hear, absolutely correctly, you hear a sound from outside, and you can tell it's Li Tang drawing his weapon, and it's a big sword, so you can tell that you've heard him do that before. You can it's a very distinct sound when that sword gets pulled out of the scabbard, because it's huge. And then literally a split second later, there is he shouts, "Attack!" And obviously the other two battle maidens are jumping out as well.
That seems like the thing to do.
Yes. Leap into action.
Yes. So you leap out of the cart and from under the covers, and you are faced by 6 men. So basically, you now outnumber them, with you 3 coming out, and whereas these guys were heading directly for what they obviously thought were at best a poorly protected, poorly armed guards and a couple of merchants. They now suddenly get face to face with men who clearly know how to use their weapon, and 3 massive, enormous women wielding weapons. They look like they're about to shit themselves. Because they are completely shocked by what just happened. 2 of them immediately turn around and run away, back into the woods and the brush and the where they came from. And the other 3 guys, you guys jumped out of the cart as well?
Yes. Did we agree to who went to the other side?
Yes,
That was us.
that was you.
Okay, then we do that.
Yes. And what happens is you manage to get out of the cart, and for just enough just enough time passes where you can hear the others get involved in fighting. You can hear the battle maidens basically shouting obscenities in Southlander at their enemies, and then you can hear
Ilva is yelling "fucking teenager"
well
and smacking one.
well
And apparently it's not the teenager she is
No.
smacking because he's clearly not a teenager, but it has something else of a head right now.
That is still an obscenity, though. So you still do that, and you smack them, and they get very. It sounds like they're getting dispatched quite handily. And just as you're like, oh, we're gonna miss out on all the fun, another 20 men come up behind you.
Oh, all to ourselves.
All to yourselves. So suddenly there's the 3 of you against 20. But it's more or less the same sort of situation. They see you guys, and you can see several of them going, you start banging your shield, yes.
Theodis starts banging his shield.
Yeah.
Bang.
They take
Yep.
one look at you guys, and they're like, starting, you can see 6 of them immediately starting to backpedal and back away because they have no idea what they're facing. They are completely confused as to what they're facing. So some of them, as I said, backpedal and run away. And one of them, who looks to be some sort of leader, shouts, a few angry commands to his men, and they charge you, and it is just not a fight. It's just not.
I think initially Thrody will tell Sindri to see if he can, shoot some of the runaways. You don't want that many of them to get away.
And that's definitely possible. Maybe 1 or 2 of them makes it into the brush, but that's it. The others are, you can pick them off. They don't know where the arrow is coming from. You have time to to aim.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's a you pick them off and kill them, and the battle maidens dispatch theirs in a hurry and come over to help you, and so does Li Tang and his men. And before you know it, everybody has blood on them, but everybody is safe. You've barely been scratched, if at all. It's not even. I won't even ask you to lose wounds over it or hit points over it, because if you have a scratch on your cheek, that's it. The
You
only
hereby conclude that surprise attack is good.
surprise attack is really good, but not only that, but you can also conclude very, very comprehensively that these bandits, sure, they were numerous, but they're not very good. But there were a lot of them. Just to attack a small thing like this, they had 26 men.
Numbers was probably all they needed up until this point.
Yeah. And you know, Li Tang is looking at that and going, that's an awful lot of lives to throw away on 2 cards. There's something going on here.
We should find out where they came from.
Oh yes. And he
Certainly.
reaches down and he grabs a hold of one of the men who are lying there bleeding out, you know, lifts his head off the ground and just, you know, leans down and says, I can make this very swift and painless end for you, or I can make sure you scream for a long, long time before you expire. Talk. And the man whom he is, you know, had his head pulled off the ground, just, you know, his face just splits in the most disturbing kind of grin, and he says, "You're too late, Tongue. You're too late. Chunku will have the city." And then, of course, you know, Li Tang just runs him through. And as he stands back up, he looks at all of you with a look of... If they're attacking the city right now and we're not there, what did he mean by that?
It did sound like they were attacking the city.
There's a man who's lying nearby who raises his hand. He's also very badly wounded.
Answers. If no one else does, Frody will go pick his head off the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man of about maybe 35. He's quite strong from the looks of it.
Comparatively.
He also, yeah. He's also, and he looks afraid. And he says, you know, wheezing because he's got a bad wound, but he says, "I will take you to Junko if you save my life."
Frody definitely looks to the captain because Frody at least looks like he would prefer to run this man through as well.
And Li Tang looks much the same, but he doesn't give the order. He walks over to this man and says, "Why would I trust you?" And the man coughs and says, "You wouldn't. But you don't know where Li Tang is. Oh, sorry, where Chunku is. But I do. That's the difference. I can show you. I don't owe that monster anything. He's got prisoners. He's got a lot of prisoners." That actually makes Li Tang go completely pale. He just, all color drains out of his face. And he goes, "Prisoners? From where? Who?" And the man just shakes his head and says, "My life first, then I'll tell you everything." And Li Tang he turns around angrily and looks towards Gylfi and says, "You are good with medicine."
Yeah. Just like looks at the captain.
"Can you save this man?"
He looks at
You can you can do so, but he's well, let's put it this way. He's gonna have to make do without his right arm for the rest of his life. But you can do it.
yeah.
Who are you looking to for something?
Gylfi.
Goofy was looking at the captain.
Oh,
just,
right. No,
just
he's-
for like a
the
nod
captain
or
isn't here.
something.
No, the captain isn't here. This Li
Oh,
Tang
no.
is not a captain. He's he's the equivalent of a lieutenant. But yeah,
Yes,
I'm assuming
yeah.
that that's who you meant.
Yeah. He's looking for the tank. Like, I can try.
If you
Yeah.
need help, tell us.
Goofy just gets down on his knees and like looks over the wounds.
Yeah, as I said, his wound is serious. His arm is beyond repair. Quite simply put, Ilva's hammer impacted with his upper right arm. There isn't enough bone mass in there for it to heal. It has to come off.
It's
Silva
like-
looks like she doesn't really regret it.
Yeah, looks at Elva. Looks back at the body and it's like, yeah. I think the arm will need to come off completely.
Prepared for that.
Gonna be.
I mean, if Sindri is needed for that, he
Yeah.
Well, he's going to
Goofy-
need some people to hold him down, if nothing else, and for
Yeah.
him to have something to bite down on, and so on. And then I need some rolls from.
Yeah, Goofy definitely would first do like first aid to stop the bleeding
Of
and
course,
stuff like that.
of
But he
course.
does not.
Let's see that.
Silva
first.
should probably not hold the man down. She'll probably just kill him if she does.
Same for Frodi.
is it alright if I roll a first aid thing as well?
Yeah, you can see if you can aid him, so to say, if you can help him.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, roll to see if you can hate.
Ha ha ha. Well,
Yes.
Sindri, you can certainly help.
Not change.
Okay. Good.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Very good.
Huge first.
18.
Yeah, he's got huge first aid. He's massively good at it,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is
Yup.
good. Which is good. So
Goofy cracks his knuckles and like starts like pulling off like some pieces of lead, like pulls out like some pieces that are still there, just quickly like bandages,
yes.
closes like bleedings and stuff like that.
Of course. There's that's what you yeah, that's what you have to do, and then it's it will be a folk medicine roll for this, because
Yeah,
it's
and
it's the highest level of medical skill that you have available to you. And folk medicine would include knowledge of how to take off a limb in a way that won't kill the man, but it's difficult to do. So you get a -2 on the you get a -2 on it instead of a -3, which is what you would have gotten if Sindri hadn't managed his roll.
Yeah, so Goofy definitely first, just since he bought himself some time with first aid,
Yes.
he would first just go in his mind like,
Yes.
just okay, so he needs to be held down, he needs to be like arm needs to be cut off like immediately and immediately cauterized,
Yes.
because they will the stuff will like bleed everywhere, like
It will bleed everywhere. You need a tourniquet to
Yeah.
immediately be able to staunch the
you-
worst of it, and then you need to cauterize it.
he's like going his mind like through the whole procedure one by one, like getting all his tools,
Yes.
all his tools prepped,
Yep.
getting from some gold clover poultice just
Yes.
on the side. He
Yes.
needs to stop it bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're ready to roll,
So
basically.
that. Yeah. So yeah. So that's. Yeah.
That'll offset the penalty.
Yeah.
So-
No. Well, that's why I wanted to just use my the
Visualization. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives you plus. How much is it?
I just have to roll IQ first,
Yeah.
and then it's a minimum of +1.
Yeah, and if you
then-
manage that roll, you'll get +2, so it offsets the penalty for the difficulty of it.
nope.
Well, okay, so you still have -2.
Yeah.
This is slightly too disturbing a sight for you to be able to just shut it out, because it's the man is a
so-
mess.
-2. to. Oh,
If it helps, Frodi seems oddly okay with cauterizing the man.
like he's the only one able to produce enough flame for the
Mm-hmm.
on short notice.
I can knock him out. Can't promise he'll wake up.
Two, yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
Excellent. You are easily. In fact, you do quite well. You take out your knife, and you basically you have to lift his shattered limb off the ground, which is obviously immensely painful. And he does scream into the. He's biting down on a piece of something, but it's incredibly painful. But then you bring the knife under. You put your arm underneath his. Bring your arm all the way around until you can basically, almost bend your hand back towards your own shoulder, but you're holding your knife still. So in a round sort of cutting motion, all the way from the back of his arm and all the way around, you cut all the flesh in one stroke. Instead of hacking at him, for a long time, which can kill him from shock, you manage to cut the arm off because the bone in the arm is so badly shattered as it is, it basically just comes off. You then have you had your things ready, so you quickly pick out bone splinters from the wound. It's a fresh wound, and yes, it bleeds like hell. The man does pass out at this point. There's no question. He's out cold. And then you had gold clover, you said, and there's somebody there to cauterize it. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So between the two things, you use a gold clover poultice for it, and the wound gets cauterized immediately. It smells horrible, but it works. It stops the bleeding. That's the main thing, and literally the gold clover poultice stops the man from dying from shock. Stops this. He doesn't die from system shock. The poultice actually saves him.
Yeah, Gilfy immediately when cutting off the hand, he just throws he just throws it away like if someone.
Yes.
Not even looking if somebody's there, somebody might get up with that hand.
Yeah, and he's unconscious, but he's alive, and he's gonna wake up at some point. An arm short, but he's gonna live.
An arm lighter. The arm didn't make him taller.
I mean, for all that it's going to make it difficult for him to fight effectively, it also makes it harder to bind his remaining good hand somewhere, unless you tie it to one of his feet or something and have him hog-tied
to his belt.
I mean, you could do that as well. Take some inspiration from the people tying the weapons to our belts.
Yes.
Yeah, if you tie it to his belt behind his back, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while you are saving this man's life, by the way, Li Tang's remaining, his soldiers are going around with their weapons drawn. They're just they're running everyone who's lying on the ground through a couple of more times to make sure that they are in fact not faking it and that they are dead. Well, what I think we're going to do is, because we're actually coming up on the next hour, so I think we are actually going to end this for this week with you guys sitting around a desperately wounded man who's had an arm amputated in the middle of a forest, not knowing what is happening back at Lanwan, and putting your faith in this wounded amputee's enemy's word that he can take you to his leader.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that the situation has looked better for you guys.
What is it about?
And the upside, the entire crew is back at the city.
Oh, yes. They'll be on their way there anyway. I mean, the point is, what is it about us always going somewhere else and then the people we care for get slaughtered because we're not there? I think we should just never go anywhere.
That's what Gilfy said.
I will say, if the man doesn't stay true to his word, I will just have to get creative.
I mean,
Ooh,
you could try setting a fire inside him.
Oh! See what he likes. See how he likes hot food.
Yeah, I just because I cannot stop myself after after the procedure is done,
Yes.
and Gilfy just sits like with the guy like by his side or on his lap because he was like holding being wrapped around him.
Yeah.
Gilfy just like exhales all the air, looks around. Well, somebody give me a round of applause, and looks at the guy.
He obviously can't clap. But Li Tang does actually look at you when you're done with this. He does look at Gylfi and nods and says, "That was impressive. Well done."
Gilfy just like bows like slightly just.
And
This.
and as I said, we're gonna end on that. So
XP.
XP. This moved the story forward, I think, but I'll give you 3 for tonight. And then next time we shall see where this
We'll see
It's
how many
horrible.
of our
where this horrible person takes you.
yes, we shall see just how many of our people we've come to know and love have been viciously slaughtered.
We shall see indeed. We shall see indeed. Anyway, thanks for this week's The Long Voyage, and to our listeners, please like, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff. And tell your friends that we are here because we need more people to come and listen to our mad ramblings. And from us here at CharismaToAC and the Long Voyage group, bye.
Bye, guys.